What is the purpose of this world? Allah says in the Quran, in Surah Ibrahim, chapter number 14, verse number 33 and 34, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created the heaven and the earth and let water come from the sky. With it, He has given fruits. He has caused the ship to sail with the commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He has caused rivers to flow for the human beings. He has made the sun and the moon for you. He has made the night and the day for you. So all these creations in the world are for the human beings. The full world Allah has created is for the human beings. And it is our duty that we have to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all these ni'amah. And besides thanking, it's our duty that we take care of these things. That's the reason Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created animals. But killing animals, it is prohibited. Killing animals is prohibited. It's mentioned Hadith of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that do not kill animals for target practice. Yes, for food amongst the halal animal which Allah has given permission, that you can have. With the way Allah has showed you and the Prophet has showed us. But for target practice, and we find many people, they want to conquer these ni'amah. They do target practice and they want to put the head of the animal in the drawing room. Allah has created the mountains. We want to conquer the mountains, go on Mount Everest. How many people die every year in trying to climb the Mount Everest? We want to conquer it. We want to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the ni'amah. Even though Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, the camels have been created for you to carry load. But even though they have been created for you, we have to love them, we have to respect them. There are several Sahih Hadith, several. It's mentioned in Sahih Bukhari, volume number 8, that there's a person who gave water to a thirsty dog by going in the well, by carrying the water in the socks, and because of that, he was granted Jannah. There's another hadith in Sahih Bukhari, volume number 8, that there was a prostitute. Just because she gave water to a thirsty dog, she was granted Jannah. And the Sahaba asked, that do we get reward even for giving water to a dog? He said, yes, why not? Imagine the animal which is prohibited to come in our house. Even if we give water to that animal, Allah will reward you for that. And there's a hadith that once an old lady, she tied a cat and did not give it food. So Allah put her in hell, that why did she tie and did not give her food? At least you should have let it go free. She would have fed on the rodents. And that poster is there in one of the posters that is in the exhibition. So we have to even love and take care of the animals. Even the vegetations. We can eat them for a requirement, but not unnecessary kill the plants. Even in war, our Prophet Muhammad said that do not chop down trees, do not burn the crops. So all these are the creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah says in the Quran, in Surah Adiyat, chapter number 100, Allah says, Allah takes an oath of the steeds of war. The horses that run for war. Allah is taking an oath and saying, Allah continues, verse number 1, 2, 3, 4. Allah says that these horses, sparks come out of the hooves. Clouds of dust they raise. They enter the enemy. Describing that Allah is taking an oath of these horses, the steeds of horses. They are without any fear, just because their master commands them, the person who's the horse rider. For the sake of the master, they enter into the enemy. There are swords, there are weapons. Irrespective whether the weapon, the steed of horse keeps on going because he wants to obey the master. Allah is taking oath of this steed of horse. And in the ending he says, but man is ungrateful. That means the horse, to obey the master, it is ready to die. It is ready to get itself killed. Just because the master says go, it goes. Whether there's an enemy, whether there's sword, whether there's a weapon, whether they're going towards their death, because of the master. But human beings are very ungrateful. That's the reason, it's the duty of every human being to reflect on the purpose of creation. That why have we been created? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's the creator. creator. He's merciful. He's kind. He's forgiving. He's just. It's the duty of every human being that you should worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Worship Him and no one else. And this life, you have to remember, is a test for the hereafter. If we follow His commandments, we shall go to Jannah. If we don't, we shall fail this test and go to Jahannam. And we have to take care of the ni'mah Allah has given us. I'd like to end my talk by giving the quotation of the glorious Qur'an from Surah Al-Imran, chapter number 3, verse number 110, which says, Kuntum khaira ummatin ukhrijat lin-nas. O ye Muslims, ye are the best of people evolved for mankind. We are called as khaira ummah, the best of people. Whenever there is honor, it is always for the responsibility. There is no honor without responsibility. The responsibility is mentioned in the same verse, and Allah continues, Ta'miruna bil ma'rufi wa tanhauna 'anil munkar wa tu'minuna billah. Because we enjoin what is good and we forbid what is wrong and we believe in Allah. It's the duty of every Muslim that whatever he knows, if you know the purpose of creation, you have to tell it to the others. By what we created, we should worship no one but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This life is a test for the hereafter. Invite people to the truth, exhort them to the truth. And enjoin them towards the good and prevent them from going towards the wrong. It's the duty of every Muslim. Dawah is compulsory. If we do not enjoin what is good and we do not prevent people from going towards the wrong, we aren't fit to be called as Muslims. We aren't fit to be called as khaira ummah, the best of people. I would like to end my talk with a quotation of the Quran from Surah Nahl, chapter 16, verse 125. It says, Udu ila sabili rabbika bil hikmah wal mu'azzat al hasna wajadil billati ahsan. Invite all to the way of thy Lord with wisdom and beautiful preaching, and argue with them and reason with them in the ways that are best, most gracious. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
Jazakallah khair, brother. We have an announcement of tomorrow's program. Tomorrow, Sunday, the 11th January, we are starting at 10 a.m. With a talk by Janab Khurshid Alam Madani, topic, meaning of Shahada in Urdu. And then followed by, this will be in the regional hall. And followed by, at 11:45 a.m., we have Brother Yasir Fazaka from the U.S.A. There is a question and answer session now. So I request them, the audience, to be actively participate in that. The topic is tolerance in Islam. Then in the evening we have at 6:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. Dr. Zakir Naik will speak on Sharia, barbaric or perfect. And we have also an FAQ session starting in the morning in the marquee. It will be in Tamil, addressed by Dr. KVS Habib Mohammed. And the tapes of yesterday's program of Dr. Zakir Naik and Brother Yasir Fazaka are available in the Indian Islamic Mission stall at Hall 7. And we also have a free booklet for non-Muslims which is called The True Religion in Tamil and English. This is for free distribution of non-Muslims. This is also available at the Indian Islamic stall. I request Brother Ashraf Mohammadi to announce the women's program.
We move on. Now we move on to the question and answer session. Before we begin, let me lay down the rules so that we can have the session in a very smooth fashion. Please form a queue at one of the 4 mics provided to you. One mic is in the ladies section. There are 3 mics in the gents section, one at the back side, one on my right, and one here on my left. Brothers and sisters are requested to be seated so that we can proceed to the question and answer session. This is a very interesting part of the program which should not be missed. While posing the questions,